Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Her new friend and our crisis. Backstory. We have been married for almost a year. Both 26. My wife is a very troubled person with a traumatic childhood and most of her early adulthood. In the beginning of our relationship, I took her in after she ran away from her abusive mother, but she still has minimal signs of recovery. She has been battling depression since early teens. She is constantly thinking about suicide and says she has difficulty getting up in the morning every day because she feels powerless. She goes to therapy, drinks antidepressants and sometimes other calming drugs, for example sleeping pills. She has had a massive progress with her spontaneous rage issues and violence. She smashes dishes and furniture when gets hysterical. Long time ago she used to attack me as well, but that doesn't happen anymore. Almost 2 years ago I convinced her to quit her job because it's contributing to her depression and exhaustion. We worked together as live casino dealers in night shifts, overall a very exhausting and depressing job. She was very hesitant with this decision because she was afraid that she will not be able to find a new job anytime soon and that she will start feeling too comfortable with having no job. I convinced her that I will take care of her and that she should focus on her mental health. She has not had a real job ever since. She is an extremely lazy person by nature. I love her more than anyone I have ever loved before. I will mention that I never had a relationship before her. She is my first. I work with wind turbines far away from home on a rotation basis, which means I am away from home for long periods of time. It is rather painful to be away from her for so long, but it pays the bills. At the end of summer, last year I lost my job because of COVID and upcoming winter season. We have a significant amount of bills to pay every month, so it was tough. I started working a very physically demanding job, moving service, with small pay. It was just enough to pay our bills and feed us all on a limited budget. At this point she had not been working for more than a year. I have to financially support this family. We have 2 dogs, all on my own, and I was frustrated. Every time I tried to express my frustrations, ask her to help me pay the bills, she would only hear criticism and blame that she doesn't have a job. She is very sensitive. We lived like this for 6 months. I was consumed by stress, depression, anxiety and frustration. But I loved my wife no matter how bad things were. I was loyal and I was working like a horse to be able to provide for our family. Unfortunately my job was poorly compensated and I had to work long hours, 6 days per week, most of the time. I wish I was more clever and qualified to have a decent job. She got a job as a part-time photographer's assistant. She was working 2 days per week and was paid very little. It helped, but not much. She loved this job however, and that made me very happy. It was not very close to our home, so I had to be her taxi most of the time since she hates public transport. It made me frustrated sometimes, which of course I regret now. She lost this job 3 months later and it threw her back into crippling depression. Crisis. Because of me being consumed by stress, depression, anxiety, frustration and physical exhaustion, I started paying less and less attention to her without me noticing it. We were very short on money, so gifts and dates were down to a minimum, if not gone altogether. She was complaining that she has a lack of attention and that her husband doesn't love her. We had multiple arguments/hysterics about me not loving her and giving her enough attention. Every time I promised her that I do love her and that I will do whatever I can to be a better, more loving husband. I would give her my excuses about having no money or being exhausted at work. She would tell me that she does not want my money. She would say that she wants her husband. We argued about the same thing periodically, over and over again. At this point we have had sex maybe twice. She has low libido, almost none, maybe even once in the year 2021. We stopped sleeping in the same bed about 3 or 4 months ago. She wants to sleep together with dogs. One of them is a large Doberman. I am a mini germaphobe, so I often complained about the mess he was making. We clean them after every walk so there is no dirt, and the amount of space that he is taking and how he is waking me up every time he comes and goes to drink some water or do something else. She had enough of all these complaints, so she started sleeping on the couch with dogs. Very large couch. At first I was enjoying all the space and privacy, but that quickly passed and I started missing her. I invited her back multiple times, but she said she was too used to having lots of space all for herself. We used to be inseparable when we slept together. I remember, during my period of depression, when she was still sleeping with me, she would more than once initiate a cuddle during the night while I was 70% asleep and brains were not functioning. I turned around, away from her. She would get up and go cry in the bathroom or the couch. She was complaining that I am not interested in her, don't give her attention, and don't love her. I would reply by saying that I was sorry, that I do love her, more than anything, and that all I do for her. About 2 months ago in one of our arguments she said, "If you don't start talking to me then I will find someone who will." A bit more than a month ago this new someone to talk to appeared. I noticed her texting with him. She explained who and what he was, asked me if I have a problem with it, and I said no, honey. She texts with multiple people, many of them male. I am jealous by nature, but we have been through this, so I trust her and give her freedom. 1 week later we had a massive argument that ended with her locking herself in the bathroom, disassembling the razor and cutting herself. I didn't stop her. I let her down. She didn't cut her veins, just the arm itself. She wanted to know if she could actually do it. She had held blades before but never got this far. She said she doesn't want to have this feeling ever again. Moments later she asked me if she could go visit this friend of hers. This was the last time she asked for permission/approval. I was very upset, but I let her go. She said it would be a couple of hours. She left at midnight, and came back at 7 a.m. Accused me of touching her computer. 2 years ago we had issues with me secretly reading her chats. I was angry, we didn't talk, and I left for work. Came back that evening to find out she was not at home. I called her to ask where she was, and she said she's at her friend's place. I was furious. Next morning she came home at 9 a.m, told me that she got hit by a car. I was too furious to react. I left for work. Not long after I found out that this car accident actually happened on her way there. She drives an electric scooter. And it made me very upset that even getting hit by a car did not stop her from leaving me and our dogs, that she would rather be caressed by him, not her husband. She replied by saying she didn't feel the pain at first and didn't realize how bad it was, thought it was only a scratch. It was a contusion on one knee, not too bad. We argued about her new boyfriend. She told me that they just talk, drink tea and smoke cigarettes, and then she falls asleep on his couch. He goes to sleep in his own room. She told me he does not touch her and is not interested in touching her. I am extra worried because since she lost some weight, her bras don't fit her anymore, so she stopped wearing them altogether. I was jealous and heartbroken. She told me she is not cheating and what they have is the most anti-sexual relationship ever. He is demisexual. She was asking me to trust her. I did trust her, but I did not trust him, because I don't know him. I told her that I want to meet him, talk to him, get to know him. It would be easier for me to accept this friendship then. She refused by saying he doesn't want to meet me because he didn't like the story she told him. I was furious. I noticed that she has put new passwords on her computer and phone, texting with this man on a special app with an additional password. She does not trust me but expects me to trust her. I tried to stop her from leaving, beg her and so on. She told me that she needed this to heal her emotional scars, that she feels too stressed and uncomfortable at home, too stressed and uncomfortable with me. She said I can either be a supportive and loving husband and let her go, wish her to have a good time, or I could be a man with fragile ego who won't let her go and is sulking. I let her go. She said she is at peace when she talks to him. He distracts her from her troubles and he gives her positive energy, inspiration to be productive again. She started drawing and leaving the house more often. Her therapist also said that if there is a source for positive energy then she should pursue it. Overall she spent 5/7 nights with him that week. I was devastated. Life as usual, with great timing, I got my job back. Even one day before I had to leave for my rotation, 3 to 6 weeks away, she would rather spend the night with him, not me. She said we will get through this, she just needs time to heal. But she will give me a divorce if I want it. While away, I've been texting her, she replies to my questions but doesn't really have any questions of her own. I call her sometimes, honestly she feels like she can't wait until I hang up. Sometimes she ignores my texts or doesn't pick up the phone. She tells me that she meets him sometimes but not as much because she can't leave the dogs alone for too long. She visits him and hangs out with him. She has other friends too. I appreciate her honesty. She tells me I have nothing to worry about, she is not cheating, they just talk and play some Jenga sometimes. She tells me she loves me. I told her that I can't handle this anymore and it's either him or me. She agreed to arrange a meeting for me and him. It has been more than a month since all of this started and, in my opinion, our relationship has only gotten worse. It was my birthday a few days ago. As a gift, I asked her for a picture to add to my family album, simple collection of selfies I keep on my phone. She said she would do it later. I said no problem because I didn't want to be pushy. Even a selfie for my birthday was too much to ask. It's been almost a week. We are not having sex anymore, we don't sleep in the same bed anymore, we don't sleep in the same room anymore, we barely sleep in the same house anymore, she doesn't really even talk to me anymore. It is almost the end of my rotation and time for me to come home, but I am afraid that when I'm home, she will leave me at midnight again. I will only have 6 days until I must go back to work. And I don't believe I will be able to survive it this time. I love her with all my heart. I want this pain to end. We had dreams of having children, we tried but it hasn't worked so far, and moving to another country, start a new life. My questions to you. Is it acceptable for a married woman to sleep at another man's house if there is a good enough excuse/reason? How can I get through this? Do you think there is a way back after this, and is it even worth it? Am I being a bad husband by not supporting her? Sorry for long post. And what's stopping you from divorcing her? Agreed. I don't want to divorce her because I overreacted and was not able to control my emotions. We have been through a lot in the past years. Our relationship was very abusive in the beginning. I sacrificed a lot because of her and I endured a lot. Leaving now because of an overreaction would mean it was all for nothing. I love her. I don't want to leave her, I just don't want to suffer anymore. It's soul crushing. Dude, stop the pity party. You are choosing the suffering by staying with her. The only party to blame here is you. Your wife has made it clear she will not change. So now the onus is onto you. She has shown you no love for a long time but constantly demands it. You are getting nothing out of this relationship besides complacency. There are no positives. This is not love, it's codependency. Choose yourself for once and let her be an adult on her own. She can, she just never had to. She left. Update to original post. 3 days ago I informed her that I have frozen her credit card, my bank account. She had not been talking to me for days, but after receiving this text she started bombarding my phone in less than 3 minutes, demanding for an explanation. I didn't give her any, just said that this is what I have decided and that in her free time she can look up the definition of emotional cheating. We didn't talk since. I spoke to one of her friends who told me she has already packed all her belongings and is ready to leave but is sort of on the fence about it. This friend of hers told me that she is incredibly upset and furious. After multiple long conversations I had with this friend, she started telling me that I don't deserve this and I should leave my wife. This friend also convinced my wife not to leave before I come home and we can talk it all out. Late evening yesterday I finally came home from work after being away for 3 weeks. Wife opened the door for me, not saying a word, went back to bed. I was greeted by our dogs. I noticed multiple gifts on our kitchen table from this new friend of hers. Some minutes later she got up from the bed and came to me in the kitchen to have a short conversation about something. She was wearing only her underwear and a sweater that I had never seen before. I told her that this is a nice sweater and asked her who gave it to her. She said, "My boyfriend." And that was the final nail in the coffin of this relationship. She still denies ever cheating on me. She believes that this entire situation is my fault and I should have been the one to fix it. She told me that she was about to leave a couple of days ago already but was convinced by her friend that I would change, that I will be a better, loving and caring husband again, that we would get through this mess. She was disappointed to receive the exact scenario she imagined would happen, me ducking her brains. After I told her about how I felt with her sleeping in a hoodie from this other man and the rest of her cheating, argument got a little heated and I told her to get out. She started packing her belongings, part of it was already packed, and also called her friend to come save her from me. She started taking my computer, to which I objected. She had been using this PC for years because at one point we traded her laptop for my PC, but not long after I gave her laptop back, she continued using it. She then said that we had an agreement and that it is hers. I objected and then it got really heated. She said, "Give it to me or I will destroy it, either way, it's mine." She punched me in the face and started pulling my clothes and hair. I grabbed my phone and tried calling the police. She ripped the phone out of my hand and smashed it against the floor. No more phone. I lost my shit, started pulling her out the door. She was pulling my hair, scratching and clawing the entire way. With a smile on her face and a little giggle too, actually. She enjoyed it. When she was already out, I realized this was no good and stopped resisting. I ran downstairs one floor below to our friend/neighbor, asked her to call the police. She gave me her phone and I did it. I went back home to continue watching her pack her belongings and argue about who keeps the PC. Her friend showed up. He turned out to be a rather chill dude. We talked, he listened to me and tried to calm us both down. He was very successful at soothing her rage. Police came. At this point the heat was already cool, so we sent them away. This night then continued with me talking to this new boyfriend of hers while my wife continues packing her stuff. They were not able to get a hold of a large enough taxi during the night, so they are still here this morning. I am sad that even after everything that she put me through, during a heated argument and even her pulling my hair as I pull her out of the apartment, I would still ask her things like, "How could you do this to me? I loved you and you betrayed me. I gave you everything I had," etc., while all she would tell me during this episode would be things like, "You were a horrible husband. You can't use gaslighting on me because that is my weapon. He is taller than you and his dick is also bigger than yours. If you don't open that door, I will sleep here on the couch and also duck him while I'm at it." Basically nasty things with intent to hurt my feelings/make me angry. She slept in the other room, while the guy was sitting there in the chair until morning. He promised me he would not duck her in my house while I'm still here. Yesterday, I also noticed blue spots on his neck, sucked by a woman. I asked him about how he got those. He said he had been naughty on Tinder. I don't believe him. I still wanted to be reasonable with my wife, avoid hatred and hostility. She would time and time again tell me, whenever I asked her to cooperate with me on something, that I am no longer her problem, her future is none of my business and I should leave her alone. Still don't understand how can she believe that there was nothing wrong with what she did to me, that sleeping in his hoodie is still not cheating. But that is ultimately the reason why our relationship fell apart. I did not understand her. She is taking the PC with her because it has all her work inside of it. She says these apps, presets and settings cannot be transferred with OneDrive or external HDD. Her boyfriend promised me that he will pay me back for this PC. Bro, this is a whole shit show and you know it. Good riddance to the wife. Good riddance to the new BF. Be alone, save money, and maybe down the road find someone you don't want to be a total savior to. You might not be a villain, but you contributed to this problem by enabling someone with obvious issues. The new boyfriend will have his own share of her shit show behavior soon. She was just using you while cheating too. File for divorce ASAP. There's nothing you could have done to save this marriage. You should have charged her with assault. You would have been doing all other men a favor. You should have told her to not come running back to you after he kicks her ass to the curb. Believe me, he will. And she will come back all crying saying, "I love you, I made a mistake." And at that point just laugh at her face. I'm sorry you had to go through all of that. For what it's worth, it sounds like you did the best you could, and your wife sounds truly awful. I can tell that she's a master manipulator, and if you let her, she'll try to spin this whole situation so that you feel like it's all your fault. You didn't pay enough attention to her, but what I find truly ironic is that you tried to love and support your wife through her depression, but she wasn't willing to do the same for you when you lost your job and had all of that financial stress piled on you. I give it a month or two tops before the new boyfriend figures out what a terrible person she is and kicks her out. When that happens, please remember all of the terrible things she said and did to you. Remember the way you feel right now. She's not worth it. So the police come and you send them away after she assaulted you. I don't even understand WTF you were thinking and the rest of the 24 hours weird shit show. Get your head on straight and don't communicate with her. Lawyer. I don't believe I could have proved anything. Besides, she is a much better manipulator than me and she had the numbers game when witnesses were concerned. Okay. So no, you know not to underestimate her. Lawyer. Secure your personal accounts, new passwords. Take her off your life insurance. Change your direct deposit. Tell her you will only respond to email or text. Make sure you save them. Go through the house and sell off stuff that you don't want. Someone has a checklist out there. Change the locks in the house. Have been keeping up with her story. Got so upset on her behalf after reading the update. What a crazy witch. You deserve better and will have better. Cut contact and initiate divorce when you are able to. Her crazy butt is that other guy's problem now. Yesterday I received this text from her new BF. Hey. I'd caught you've been complaining about your wife, that she's bad and such. Well, she's not that bad. I know you've lived with her for a longer time, but still. Amazing cook, good listener, has a good sense of style, great sense of humor, taste in music and movies is on point. How could it be that bad, that you've complained about her so much? We all put our best foot forward at the beginning. Our true person comes out when difficult situations arise. She made a lifelong commitment to you, however her word doesn't stand for much. So sorry man. I hope seeing her true self firsthand will help you to move on from her. You guys sound really toxic together. Her violence, her infidelity and your financial control make for a really volatile mess. Please leave each other before someone ends up on the hospital or in jail. His financial control? Did you ducking read these posts? Almost everyone on her side thinks I overreacted and I am the bad guy who abused his wife. Everyone hates me. Even the neighbor/friend who was the last person to convince me to leave her 2 days ago. When my wife was waiting, for me to come home after work, she was on sedatives, scared of me giving her exactly this scenario when I arrive. She said that all I cared about was that she was sleeping in this guy's hoodie, not the fact that she's sedated and terrified. She said that my wife is leaving me and all I care about is the PC she is taking with her. She says that she waited half a year for me to love her. Am I the real villain? You didn't do anything wrong. This woman is insane and she took advantage of the love and home you provided for her. She is a piece of shit. You do not deserve this. What she displayed is protest behavior in the past. She was hurt by you ignoring her. She wanted to be seen by you. But she didn't know how to communicate it properly. Instead she threatened to talk to someone else if you don't talk to her. This was a huge cry for help from her side, in a twisted way. What happened is that your wife is still a small girl that is very hurt. You triggered her pain by abandoning her, from her point of view. But she just wanted to be loved and not hurt again, so she looked somewhere else for that love. And she found it. Lessons to be learned. Be there for your partner. Don't neglect them. Relationships are work, always. Choose someone sane next time that has worked through her issues before entering a relationship. Relationships can duck you up. See a therapist to work through all this shit. How do you sleep at night? Advice. How do you deal with the nightmares and all the other bad dreams about your spouse's infidelity, betrayal and disappearance from your life? I'm early. I don't sleep much. Though it's not because of nightmares. But the easiest way to get past all of that, is time, perspective and finding a much better person to share your bed with. The first 3 months I could not sleep all the way through the night. I would wake up around 3:30 or 4 o'clock from a horrible dream about the devastation. I would have dreams about what actually happened and every possibility of what happened, such as him leaving me for a man or him taking my new house from me. Impossible things. I read that this is a PTSD response and I have been seeking grief counseling. I felt like my situation came out of the blue and sounds like yours did too. Your brain is going to throw every scenario out there, even things that would never have happened, just so that you can be prepared next time. I still have trouble a few nights a week sleeping. It's slowly but surely getting better. I keep myself busy during the day. My mind races over all the memories and duckery. I try and focus on the duckery, try and remember all the reasons he wasn't the right choice for me. That helps. But I'm sorry to say it isn't easy at all. I'm 7 months out and I still hurt and cry just as hard as month 1, and some days I'm numb. The pain is in my core. I loved that person more than anything and they couldn't even have the respect to give me any real closure. Keep your friends close. Focus on hobbies. Take your life back. Good luck. I'm about 10 months in, hate to say it but it just seems to vary by person. I still, as in this week, struggle with some of the issues you mentioned. I just try to stay busy, found some positive hobbies, and do my best to do better on my own schedule. You'll get better when you get better. Honestly, there is no easy answer for this. It is just the worst, most dreadful bullshit. I can't remember dreams from last night, but the most enduring and scarring nightmares of my life are from that period. Weed. I forgot the name of it but it knocked me out. Gotta make yourself very tired. It's hard. Good luck. Married to a sociopath update original post. Separation. It's been 3 months since she 26F and I 26M have been separated. I initiated North Carolina a couple of days after I told her to get out, and she did, with a bang. She has attempted taking a couple of jabs at me during the first weeks by having her new boyfriend sending me text messages about how fantastic she is and how large of a mistake I have made, posting some memes on her Facebook feed. There was this one time when her BF texted me and I got so angry that I called him, shouted, asking what is he trying to accomplish, how dare you and so on, which quickly got interrupted by my STBXW grabbing his phone and in a happy, playful tone of voice saying, "Honey, go duck yourself," and hanging up immediately after. It is the last time I've heard her voice. I sent her a couple of emails trying to arrange the divorce which went nowhere. She laughed in my face, through text. When she left, she took almost everything of value in our apartment, leaving behind only souvenirs I had brought her from my travels that had nothing but sentimental value. She left me to deal with all the messes regarding leases and subscriptions, except one that was signed to her name, which she attempted to pin on me unsuccessfully, which I bet made her furious, lol. The apartment we were renting, in which she was living rent-free, and more than me since I was working abroad, was also on her name though, but I couldn't bail on this because the landlord lady had been very kind to us and I am not the type of a person who would behave in such a way. I swept it clean, invited the lady, told her we're done, told her why. She was very supportive of me. She told me I remind her of her son. I paid her what we owed her and that was that. I am in a much better place physically. I've gained some weight back and noticed some chronic illnesses disappear. I'd say I'm in a better place emotionally and mentally as well. Except my indulgence in self-destructive behavior that led me to breaking my leg in a motorcycle accident. I have some reckless suicidal episodes here and there, but I'd like to believe they're mostly under control. Physical pain helps distract me from emotional pain. I listen to speeches and lessons from Stephanie Lin, Dr. Ramani, Lisa A. Romano, Jordan Peterson, and Sadhguru. I've got a bunch of books lined up that I'm going to read. Ones that I've finished already include Running on Empty No More, CEN, and No More Mr. Nice Guy. Unfortunately, I still have not managed to go a single day without thinking about my STBXW. Some days it's sadness, some days it's grief, some days it's anger. It's quite frustrating and confusing. Marrying a sociopath might just be the greatest failure of my life thus far. I blame myself for a large portion of why my marriage collapsed, and it has a very negative effect on me trying to live a joyful life. I miss my dogs dearly. TLDR separated, 3 months North Carolina, healing. Anyone who is married to someone who behaves like her is not responsible for a marriage failing. You never had a chance. That doesn't mean you can't improve and do better next time if you want to. Cheating in a Nutshell is another good one to read. Hang in there, it takes time. You can go after the value of items taken in the divorce. Don't be a putz in the divorce, squeeze that lemon for 50/50ths everything. You can move forward on divorce without her. You own your shit but nothing else, man. You didn't make the decisions she did. Stay strong, get mad and be a badass. Don't sit around. Work out. Start new hobbies. Kick some more ass. Wow, your posts show you made this relationship one-sided and you have to take ownership of this. You carried all the emotional and financial burden but gave her complete control of everything. Why? Look what it got you. Never ever do this again. She got bored with you and is moving on. You need to do the same thing and learn from this. Your next relationship should be way better if you don't repeat these mistakes next time. I've got issues, my friend. I suffer from Ken, the nice guy syndrome and codependency. I'm working very hard on educating myself on my negatives and turning them into positives. I hear you, bro. I was there once, too. Hang in there. You will be fine once you get past this. Good luck. My only question was, please tell me you got the dogs. I am so very sorry. The dogs stay with her. I travel frequently. I work on a rotation basis, almost like a sailor. I'm rarely ever home. She, however, is attempting to build a career around dog training and grooming. Plus, she is the owner of their passports. They are better off with her. She actually loves animals, unlike humans. A sweet image of them to warm your heart. Bro, by reading your story, I have come to realize that you made some crucial mistakes in taking decisions. It will be better in the overall run if you consider it. You told her to stop working, which made her insecure of whether she would find a job or not. You shouldn't have done that. I know your main reason was to distress her, but in turn it increased your workload and made you unable to focus on family life. You tried to take on the whole burden of work after you lost the job. What you should have done at the time was to discuss with her whether she could find some job too, as it was a difficult time period for you all. You should have stopped her from going to a male friend's house. It's not about stopping her. At the time you should have stopped her, and talked with her regarding the worst situation it took. You disregarded her emotions when she sought your warmth. This in her eyes you don't love her anymore and you are a bad husband. You told that she wanted to suicide, but you didn't show any regard for her at all and stood like a statue. This in turn made it concrete that you didn't love her. 6. You should have taken legal actions before freezing the bank account, along taking help from lawyer on total distribution of properties. Hopefully these points can make a crucial turn in your path regarding how to lead your future life. Also, I think you have savior tendencies. You should talk with a counselor to resolve it. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.